face. There you are. Wow, look at that shirt. That's clean. That's
Clean,
clean.
huh?
You're looking like a little mobbed up.
Maybe a little. I don't know. I don't know who
It's.
this
I
guy.
guess it fits. I guess it fits the description. Oh, it fits the description of the sit down. We are in episode 4 of the sit down. What better way to dress for a sit down than looking like you're about to go get some bajut and mix it out a little balsamic on the side?
Yeah, going to Arthur Ave in a little bit. So
All right. So what's going on, brother? What's
we got
going on?
about 16 people in here. We already got 2,500 likes. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Whoever's in here. I asked some of my buddies if they can hop in here, but we'll see who actually participates. But probably not because they don't care about crypto. But yeah, Cuzzie feeling good with all the good news coming out? Of course I am, dude. I am feeling good. And believe it or not, me and Bully are setting up a whole new entire workspace. We're getting a whole new monitor set up. We're going to start streaming on Twitch, Kick. We're going to be doing a lot more private chats in our Discord, guys. If you're new to the channel, make sure you follow one of us, and we'll be able to send you the link over to our Discord. We got over 200 people, and we're going to start streaming more on like I said, Twitch, Kick, and other platforms as well. Just FOMO'd into Pipe like a noob. Congrats. I don't know anything about Pipe, but I wish you the best.
Yeah, so guys, we're not going to be doing any Q&As tonight. We're going to be simply just doing an average sit down interview with Crypto. For you guys that don't know, me and Crypto Cuzzie are lifelong friends, so this is going to be a pretty interesting sit down. You may get to know us a little bit better. You may hear some stories about one another that you kind of maybe surprise you. So with that being said, brother, what I would really like to know about you, and maybe if whatever you're interested in sharing, is your story, right? So how did you ultimately get involved into investing? I know you started off with stocks. You came into crypto just around the same time. But talk to me about your story with risking your money or gambling your money, right?
Yep. Start off. Parents never came from a finance background. They always worked, 9-to-5 jobs. So no industry finance, no wealth management like I do myself. They never worked in that industry, but they did invest into their 401ks. And, every single time from their paycheck, they would try to invest and invest and invest. But yeah, I mean, the only way I've started to grow over a period of time. So once I turned the age of 12 or 14, I would say it's one or the other. I'm not sure which one. I remember exactly where I was. It was at my grandfather's house. And I remember that to this day, this is when Facebook started getting created. And I remember Facebook just got IPO'd in 2012. I don't even know how old I was, maybe 13 years ago. So 14, yeah. 14, I was 14 at the time. And I remember Facebook just got IPO'd. And I remember saying, I'm going to take all my money from my communion or confirmation or whatever it was, and I'm going to dump it all into Facebook. And my dad's like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And I said, yep. I said, we're going to do it. I said, Facebook is the name of the game, and it's going to change our whole entire lives. Facebook has IPO'd at $26.33. That's where I bought it at. And it's right now at over $750. So I went from around $20 to over $750. And that's just over a period of time. I mean, guys, I just got lucky with that one play. I mean, I've had losses along the way, but another one is, like Advanced Micro Devices, and I bought it at $2, and then now we're at close to $200. These are miracle plays. These don't happen a lot. And then once I realized that I'm able to turn $2 into $35 a share back in 2017, I realized that this is pretty awesome. I said the fact that I just more than quadrupled my money just within a period of time, just by keeping it into and stock, which I truly do believe in, and I do believe tech is the newest thing in the market that's going to continue to grow and outcompete the NASDAQ and the S&P. And I do believe that, the stocks that you do believe in, from what I was told when I started going into college and when I was growing up, invest into the stocks that you truly do believe in and the things that you buy every day. So we obviously have a lot of tech. We have Apple. We have microchip companies like NVIDIA and AMD. I mean, these are all into our things that we use on a daily basis. So yeah, I mean, ever since I went from a $2 to a $35, stock price, I realized that I can do this on an everyday basis. I mean, this is something that I enjoyed. So, I mean, and I continue to keep doing it over time and time and time. And I said I wanted to do this when I grew up and work on Wall Street in New York. And then I went to college and got my degree in finance. And I wasn't the brightest kid in college. 3.0, that's nothing crazy. But I will say is that I'm not book smart, but I'm stock smart and crypto smart. And I say this is where I got my learning is today. You don't have to go to school and you don't have to read notes and take exams. I'm not a good exam taker, but I'm saying is that if you study certain things in your life and you contribute a lot to it, you definitely will come out and make the best out of it.
That's really funny.
Self-made.
I was a 2.44 GPA student in college. College definitely wasn't my thing either. I am crypto smart, which is a little funny to say, but 14 years old to start investing in the stock market. Most 14-year-olds, what are we talking about when we're 14 years old, right? Grand Theft Auto. Oh my God, there's this secret website. It starts with a P. I mean, what are you thinking that people around your age, 14 years old, what they're involved with sports, they're involved with drama, right? This is middle school. 14 years old is middle school. So
Going into yeah, I definitely say 14 years old. Most kids are really worried about going into high school and worrying if they're going to make friends in high school. They're worrying about the colleges that they're going to and stuff like that. Like I don't like to say this, but I always put like education last. I don't know why I say this, but like I just always felt like school was a scam, right? School was a scam, college is a scam, and I've realized this in my everyday life that college is a scam today. I mean, the guys that I work with, some of them didn't even have a college degree, and look, they're working next to me, and they're doing the same thing as me. So I don't believe school, I don't believe college, and I'm the only one in my family that got a degree, and I would never choose to force my family to go to college again.
yeah, well, I think you and me both have some common ground on this. That school was really designed to create an obedient workforce. They get you accustomed to doing 8-hour days, waking up very early, going to school. You're taking orders from someone that is in charge of you, and then you pick your craft. Oh, what do you like? Science? Do you like math? And then you go to college, and you get a little bit more freedom, but ultimately everyone comes out with a lot of debt, and then they just end up working a mediocre job. So, I mean, school is the school system is designed to create a workforce. Just smart enough to run the machines, dumb enough to take that 1% raise year over year. But what I want to ask you is, as a 14-year-old, most 14-year-olds are not thinking about investing, risking their money. You have $100 to your name when you're 14. You're thinking, where I'm going to go to GameStop. What video game am I buying? So what was the catalyst for you to ultimately decide to take your confirmation money and to play with it?
I just started to believe once I heard about how stocks work is that from what I was told is you pick a stock, you do your research on it, and you invest in it, and potentially if it goes up, you make money. And I was like, okay, I like money. Who doesn't like money, right? So when someone told me, okay, I could turn my $500 investment into 30K, I was like, who wouldn't want to do that? And at the time I didn't know that fiat money is a waste of time and you should be putting it into work to other things, but I didn't know that at the time. But I did know is that when I heard that you could turn 500 into 3 grand to 9 grand, I was like, well, who wouldn't want to do this? And I was like, and maybe it was just me at just a young age, but I just realized to come to realization, like, why I thought everybody did this at 14. I was thinking like, maybe everybody's doing this. Why not just join the bandwagon and just go with everybody else? So I don't know. It's just, and it's a lot of motivation from my parents, just telling me, maybe I should do this when I'm young and, invest young, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me as well, my family, middle class, worked. Both my parents worked, and they, by no means did they have this investing education that you and me have kind of dove into to explore essentially on our own. And not that the financial advice that our parents gave us was bad, but it was the typical narrative that you hear the same way that you hear it in school, right? You go to school, put money in your savings account, get a good job, put money in your 401k, right? And ultimately, we both came to this conclusion that this system, this advice doesn't work anymore. Even if you put your money in your savings account, you're losing to inflation. With that being said,
Yeah, I'll say it like this: is that over time I've realized, you have to have multiple jobs, and what I've realized over a period of time is that fiat is. I don't even know where I was getting into this, but like I said, my family, they never came from a background like that, and then once I heard, you know, when I knew this education, and then when I started going transitioning into high school, I've realized that most of the people, when I talked to them, they didn't even do this, and I was like, why are they not doing this? And it didn't make any sense to me, but I just continued to keep doing what I was doing, and I was like, dude, I can outpace all these people, like I could be able to do this on a constant day basis and just do this every day. So yeah, let's
so
jump.
we grew up together. We've known each other for many, many years. If you could, I would like to dig a little bit into what was your childhood like? How did that shape you from boyhood into manhood, the development of your mindset, the development of your own personal growth, to becoming who you are today? You and me both love the experience of pain. We're happy to be suffering because that indicates that you are growing into that next level. We say this all the time in our own personal phone calls. We don't shy away from those suffering moments or those painful moments. Could you walk me a little bit about that personal growth and your mindset from boyhood into manhood as we've known each other for many years?
Yeah. Just touching back on the previous, I actually realized I was figured out what I was going to say. So our parents, you're going to have to repeat this question one more time, but going back, when our parents told us, how to go about life, and it's to, get a job and pay the bills and do all these things. I've come to realization now that you can't do any of those things. The old mindset is out the picture, investing, going to 9 to 5. And I don't want to live this life. And it's unfortunate because my parents don't understand this when I tell them that, is that I tell them, I'm like, I don't want to go to work. And they're like, well, you got to. And I'm like, but what if I don't have to, right? What if I figure out a way that I can do whatever it takes where I don't need to clock in and I don't need to be anybody's boss, right? So I say is the old method, I think, is completely tarnished. And I think that most people in the space, 95% of the world, continues to live in this rat race. Times have changed. People are different. They want different things. They have different perspectives. The households, the nuclear family is not the same anymore. So reality is that, like I said, people want different things, and it's just not the same way of life anymore. We're all about conquering now. Me and you, blockchain, is that we just so focused on conquering the world and achieving so many different things. And I think that's what we're really here for. And like I said, I think the old times are gone and the new times are, investing in your money, and fiat money is not the same as what it used to be. And yeah, but just going back on my childhood, yeah, if you could just repeat the questions, this way I could continue to give a deep dive about that one.
Yeah, so your transition from boyhood into manhood, I think that you and me both serve the same mentality there, where we're very comfortable in the uncomfort zone. We don't shy away from pain. We almost welcome the suffering because you and I both understand that that is the zone in which you grow, right? We always say that the comfort zone has no room for personal growth. And maybe you and I are a little bit alone in that in terms of our friend group. Up very until recently, a lot of our own personal friends have been jumping in out of the comfort zone. But that transition from boyhood to manhood, what was it that shaped your mindset, your personal growth, your physical growth, whatever it is you'd like to talk about? Why did you decide to jump into the deep end of the uncomfort zone for the prosperity of personal growth?
Yeah, so I think the personal growth really started the moment I graduated high school. I remember that I've gotten bullied, made fun of, saying I was 100 and I was about 103 pounds when I graduated high school. I was the skinniest kid probably in my high school. If I showed you a picture today, you would be like, yo, who the hell is this kid, right? Got made fun of by all my friends. And I remember that my one friend told me, he goes, I don't care what you do. He's like, you'll never get big. And that stuck with me for the rest, like till this day, told me, he's like, you'll never be able to do it. And I told myself after seventh period ended, I said, I'm going to show you that I can do it, you know? So I went to the gym after every single day for about 9 years straight till today, that I go to the gym about maybe 6 to 7 times a week, putting in the work day in and day out. And I do think that that motivation of someone telling me that I can't do it, and then going through rough times, losing friends, breakups, every man has a time in their life where they go through a breakup, and it's either you experience the pain and you deal with the pain one way or another. It's like you use the pain to your advantage to become up here, or you use it to become down here. You know what I mean? And it's like I took all that pain of, you know, the experience that I had with the breakup and stuff like that, and I went to the gym twice a day, putting in the work every single day to get to where I am today. And I will say that personal growth, I've realized, is that the gym taught me so many things. It taught me motivation, taught me discipline, and it taught me a lot of other factors in life that I use in today's day. And I will say is that if it wasn't for the gym, I don't think I'd ever be where I am today. So I definitely say is that mental breakthrough, push through barriers, you know, saying that, you know, the only thing that can hurt me the moment I walk through the door and make me give up is the amount of reps that I do in the gym. And I will say is that like I said, if it wasn't for the gym, I want to be where I've learned through so much progress, through pain, through failure. The gym has taught me so many things, and then I've transferred that over to many aspects of my life. You know, transferring over that discipline, that motivation, my work ethic into mixed martial arts, right? I love pain. I love, you know, we train together. We have trained with other guys. I love, you know, that pain, that suffering of almost gasping out of air and, you know, getting knocked out or just anything like that. You're going through a warrior phase. You only understand this if you're a man. I say this, you know, I don't know if women will really understand the pain of a man, of how much they really go through, but a man goes through so much, especially in today's day and age. A man goes through so much pain, you know, trying to be the best they can ever be, especially for providing for their family and doing whatever it takes to go above and beyond. Because we have a lot of males in today's day and age that don't do the things that me and blockchain don't do. So yeah, I transferred that over to fitness, to fighting and all these things. And then I transferred that over to my work ethic. And that's really just, and I tell you is that the moment someone told me about crypto, that's really what sparked my mind. And I said, you know, if I could transfer this over to my gym ethic, over to my work ethic, I said, you know what, I think I'll be able to do this. I said, because I can overcome anything. You know, I can overcome anything and anything out there. And what I did is that day in and day out, and you can even vouch me on this, blockchain, is that every single day we were buying something, you know? And if we weren't, we were talking about the next strategic plan on the dips going down, because we truly prepared ourselves for the bear market. So like I said, guys, 2016, I graduated high school. All the way up until 2020, I was investing into stocks and everything like that. And then I transferred all of that into my work ethic and my financial standpoint in my life. And yeah, I'll tell you, it turned out to the best, because I have it in my work ethic, my gym work ethic, and pretty much every single perspective in my life. I have so much discipline like never before.
I think it's funny because, you know, we say this and, you know, because we live in this reality, but I also think that there is a vast majority of at least American men that do not decide to take that difficult path. A lot of men nowadays, they kind of have that expectation of, oh, my wife is going to work. Oh, the police will protect me. Oh, I'll just depend on the government for this or that, right? So that there's not, at least as far as I'm aware, and I mean, we grew up around New York City, so you would think that there would be that ambition, that rat race mentality. I haven't necessarily seen it. I think that nowadays it's very rare to find a man who is, all about providing, right? And ultimately, it's a difficult job to say. I don't, I want to give my wife the ability to not work if she doesn't want to. If she wants to open up her business, that's fine. But it's my responsibility to have the two incomes. I don't have to rely on my wife to work. If my wife doesn't want to work, she doesn't have to work. A lot of men don't want to take on that responsibility nowadays.
Well, this is the problem: is that the nuclear family is completely gone. And I
Gone.
say is that, in my opinion, the nuclear family is completely gone. And what it has is done is that it made women and men go to work and say, all right, well, you're going to go to work. Your wife's going to go to work, but the kids are going to, go to a babysitter and do stuff like this and, try to make all that income. And it actually, you know, took back the responsibility for most men, and most men pretty much gave up, right? Because they saw their parents say, all right, well, my mom goes to work, my dad goes to work, I'm going to grow up and it's going to be the same exact thing. Well, guess what, guys? I'm not like that. I'm going to do whatever it takes so this way my wife doesn't have to work. I provide, I make all the money, I do everything for my family while my wife takes care of the family at home, right? And I say that is the greatest way to go about life, is that if you are the one that's the breadwinner and continues to strive, it's just like the Stone Age, right? The man went out in the wilderness, killed all the animals, brought it home to his family, so this way they have something to eat. You don't hear a woman going out trying to kill a saber-toothed tiger and trying to and bringing it back to her husband and the kid. Get the hell out of here, all right? And this is what I say, is that it kind of gave men a chance to slack off and say, you know what? I think I'm going to let my wife do this. I'm going to do that. And you know what? Now in today's day and age, is that even if both parents work, most people ain't even surviving. That's the crazy part. And so many men are lacking this like motivation, this discipline, this drive, and blockchain. Like you said, we mentioned this on our Discord the other day. Is that we've talked to over 300 people about crypto, and no one even wanted to have the drive. No one.
Well, that's what I find. That's what I find so interesting. Is like, you want to surround yourself with people who are, maybe they want to carry on the traditions of their family, their culture. They want to learn how to cook, or they want to learn how to work with their hands. That sense of traditionalism is almost eroding nowadays in society. But there's not a lot of men that run towards the suffering, run towards the pain, run towards that personal growth. We live in a day and age where it is so convenient to be comfortable. You're stressed out, you go on TikTok. You're upset about something, you know what I'm saying? The phone is like that. It's cheap serotonin. It's cheap dopamine. And ultimately, I think that you and me, we found that release of dopamine through the difficult processes in our life, whether that was martial arts, whether that was seeing success within the trades, whatever it was never the easy route we decided to take. But yeah, no, we live in the day and age where men do not want to provide, or I don't understand what it is. If you have an ounce of ambition, you're gonna run your generation over. And I don't understand why. You say we talked to 300 people. I don't understand why people don't want to know what we know. So you were the one that got me started to investing. I think I was maybe 20 years old or 21. Could you talk a little bit about introducing me to investing, and what were the things that you saw as an early investor? Like, how did you kind of shape my mentality, things like that?
Yeah, so it wasn't 20. You were like 19. And I remember you telling me, you texted me one day and just said, hey, do you know anything about stocks? And I said, yeah. I said, I have my own. I think you were a little surprised when I told you, I do it. And you were like, okay, can you come over to my house and show me? And I was like, yeah, by all means. I was like, you know what, I'll come by 6 o'clock today. I'll show you, I'll bring my laptop, everything. You know, showed you how to open a TD Ameritrade account, showed you, limit orders, showed you, showing you a little bit of charts. I showed you some stocks that are pretty solid, picks that I have, very transparent with you from the beginning. I mean, you can even vouch for me on this. I showed you my whole entire account, right? I was like, you know what, here's my value. I was like, here's my picks. I was like, this is what I made, and here you go. And I showed you, I was like, these are who I think are winners. And then you asked me some questions. And, the thing is that even after that night, some people, they may never hit you up again after, that conversation because, they find it a little boring and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I waited a couple of days and you reached out to me and you said, I think I want to start investing. And I said, okay, perfect. I said, this kid has some ambition. He has some drive. He wants to learn. I said, I'm going to teach this kid everything. I'm going to teach him everything. So we sat down, you were talking about it. We were being serious. We set up everything. We set up the TD Ameritrade account for you. We set up a brokerage account for you. And guys, remember, we were doing this at like 20 years old, I mean, I already had a custodial account, with my parents and stuff like that. But this is someone that, is my best friend, the only friend that has come to me and asked me, how do I learn? And I said, I'm going to show you the roadmap. As long as you follow the roadmap, I promise you'll be successful, right? Blockchain has gone through many ups and downs. We've gone through many ups and downs as well. We've had some losses. We had some winners. And I think what really stood out for me, in continuing to help you build your charisma is that you always came back for more, asking more questions. You were interested. It's not like I'm forcing you to learn, if you know what I mean. Some people, they get super turned off by some stuff and you tell them all this. Like I could talk about XRP all day with some of my friends and they'll be like, I'm never going to talk about this. Guy's a fucking loser. They're going to be like, this guy's a loser. I'm never going to talk to him. We're going to go back. We're going to go back to our Xbox game and that's it, guys. But blockchain actually always came to me asking me questions, and he's always a guy that has to ask 100 questions. I don't care if he's asking me 1,000 questions. I'm going to answer the ball because I like answering them. And most importantly, it shows me that if you're asking me questions, that means you're willing to learn, So this is continuously like why I put in all the effort into someone is because I believed in him. I believed in that he had this mentality to be just like me, especially at a little bit of a later of an age, that, anybody can achieve the same mentality that I have. It's just a matter of when, if, some people I say is that, they may have this mentality at like 60 years old and it may not be great and all because you won't be able to, have the amount of success. And, it's greater to have it when you're young and being able to, because I say it's like, if you have this mentality now, you invest, you're able to cherish all those moments, you're able to live it and you're able to provide it for your family. And I'm not discrediting anybody, especially the fathers out there. I mean, there's so many fathers that put in the work, especially my father, to get to where we are right now. And I couldn't thank them anymore. But if you have this mentality, but again, back then, like you didn't need this mentality to become, to do all this, it's like, if you were to tell this to someone in the 60s, they would be like, why are you doing all this? Go to your 9 to 5, work, because that's just how it worked.
He told you the best investment that they ever had was the $40 of gas in their tank for a $700 paycheck. That's what they said. That's the best investment I've ever had, and I do that every week.
And now social media has brought that upon people that shows you the flashy things, the flashy cars, the pretty girls and this, and they say, you're not going to get any of that if you don't work hard. But I don't care about all of that, right? I care about the freedom, right? The time is the most important thing that I care about, giving it back to my family, being able to provide for all of them, doing this, all of it, being able to do it all. I don't care about the what's it called? The materialistic items. I care about my time, my value, because that's priceless. You can't buy it back. You can never get it back because we don't know if we're going to die tomorrow or we're going to die 50 years from now.
Yeah, I think that we have the same mentality with that. I mean, ultimately, I always say the goal is not to have X amount of millions. The goal is to own 100% of the time. What's the point of wearing a Rolex if it still tells you when your lunch break is over?
Correct. Exactly.
Don't get me wrong. Would I enjoy a fast car? Of course I would. But even at this point in my financial career, I still have plenty of goals that I'm ambitious towards, and I'm still working towards. And for me, the goal is to own 100% of your time. I mean, like, what's the point of the Lamborghini? Like, no, I don't want the Lamborghini. I want the 100 acres. You know what I'm saying? I want the land. I want to build, the trust that you pass down to your kids for generations and generations. These are the things that I'm already focused on and I'm already thinking about. I don't want the flashy things. I'm not interested in the materialistic things. What I'm looking for is for me to build a portfolio that gives me the access to my family for 100% of my time, and I can focus on the development of my children. Like they always say that if someone is not at home with your children, then it is the public schools that are raising your children. Those are the public schools or the nanny. Somebody is shaping the mentality of your children.
Correct.
And I think that you and me are very selfless in the idea that we're not doing this for us. Look, don't get me wrong. You come up on some fantastic returns. We got the ability to buy some really cool shit. But we're not doing this for us. We're doing this for a wife that is in the future, for children that is for the future, the grandchildren that's in the future. We're already thinking about a life and a family that we're not even at that stage yet, but we're willing to sacrifice now, suffer now, go through the pain now, the lessons and the hurt in order to make their lives a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I will say is that I had a time. I'm not going to say the stock, but there was a time where I invested so many things into one stock, and I gave it my all, and I was down about, to this day, I'm down about 60 grand. 60 grand. Fucking hell, man. I'm 27 and I lost 60 grand on one trade. I was going to give up. I was going to say, you know what? Maybe I should just stop. Maybe I should just stop investing because maybe it's just not meant for me. And I will say is that I stopped for a while. I was taking a breather, trying to get some sense back. And someone just brought this crypto stuff to me again. And, we got into crypto in 2020, right? And then I lost some serious money in 2021, took a breather. Then someone pitched me this thing again in 2020, late 2021, a couple months later, and they pitched it to me again, saying about all this stuff that's about to happen. ISO 222. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
What the hell are you talking about, bud? ISO.
I'm like, dude. I'm like, is this like computer coding? Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what is this? Another language? I'm like, so now they're sending me all this stuff. They're like, dude, you got to get in on this. I'm like, by fucking March 10th, ISO is going to go live. I mean, now it's live in July, but for people that don't know, it used to be March 10th, 2025. That's when it was originally for the Fed now. And so once I heard these dates, I was like, holy shit. I was like, I got to call blockchain. I was like, I got to call him. And I forget, I called him. I told him, I was like, dude, we got to go heavy. We got to go heavy. And guys, like, I don't really go heavy in all that in my investings, but if I truly do believe in something, I'm gonna go heavy. And this time I told myself, I said, I can't, if this is what's gonna happen, right? And XRP is gonna go to $1,000. I have 1,000 coins. I said, 1,000 coins. I told Bacha, I said, that's not enough. I said, we can't do this. I said, if I'm going to go, I'm going to go all in. If I'm not going to put 1 foot in and 1 foot out, right? If I'm going to do this, I'm just going to go all in. I'm 26, 27, two guys, 26, 27, just trying to live the American dream, just trying to do whatever it takes. And I said, if I'm going to do this, I got to do it now. I can't do this when I have a kid. I can't do this when I'm retired. Yeah. I got to do it now. Yeah. And you know what? And I'm glad I just didn't stop with my dream, because my dream from the beginning, from 2012, was continuing to invest and become this person that I always wanted to be. And I almost took that dream away, and I gave up on myself. And then someone just revived me and just told me, they're like, yeah, and it just like woke up a different. I was about to curse because I don't want to get banned, like Echo, but It just woke up a different beast, and I just became a different human being. And I was like, that's it. I was like, that's it. I'm doing this right now. And you can even ask blockchain the days that I just put in day in and day out.
Guys, this was still at the time when you were able to get 1,000 XRP for $300. And I remember sitting at that bag size as well, 1,000 coins. And now that would cost you who knows. But now
3,200.
I remember sitting at that like $2,000. I'm looking at all you're new into investing. Oh, they're saying $1,000, $10,000. That's enough. That's fine. If that ever goes to that, I'll be fine. And then one day I get a call from Crypto Cuzzie. He says, not enough. So what the hell are you talking about?
But how much was this? How many coins did we have at the time? It was very small.
Probably like 2,000. 2,000 when the damn thing was 30 cents, 40 cents or something. He goes, not enough. He goes, if these dude touch the numbers we're thinking at, he goes, we have a once in a lifetime opportunity. He says, we're going all in. He goes, I don't care what it costs, what you have to sacrifice. We're going all in. And I remember walking home that day and I was thinking, what am I spending my money on? And it was food, traveling, going to festivals. It was, vacations. It was nonsense. I remember I filed my taxes for that year and I looked at my income and I said, where the hell did it all go? What do I have? What do I have? I looked around and I said, I'm spending money that I don't even know what I'm buying. And that for me was a turning point in my investing career, because I had to seriously take a look at my budgeting and what it is that I was spending my money on. And I went completely, I turned a whole 180. It got to the point where I was bringing my own lunch to work. I was jumping turnstiles in the city to go to work. I mean, every single dollar that I had, I was putting into investing because he said that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I started to research more, and I started to have my own convictions and my own beliefs and my own perspective on it as well. And a lot of these perspectives, we share them as well. But I went from that. It was just like a red pill moment for myself, where I said, I'm a consumer. I'm spending all of this money on nothing. I have nothing to show for it. I said, I made all this money in the year. I looked around and I said, what did I buy? And I completely broke down the whole entire system, and I built it from the ground up. And we went very, very hard for the last 5 years. I mean, you're talking 50, 60% of your income, paycheck to paycheck, all of it in week after week after week after week, even when the whole market was fearful, even when people were saying, why are you buying that? That thing is horrible. It's not performing well. We said, no, you're scared. I'm buying. It was almost like the moment when the SEC had sued Ripple. We were like, everyone's scared. Let's go. We're buying it. And I think that a lot of our stock investing translated into crypto investing, because we had the fundamentals of when the market's excited, it's maybe the time to run. When the market's fearful, it's probably the time to buy. So we took a lot of those theories and a lot of the principles into crypto investing. And I think that that's particularly why we have had the success that we've had, because we paid to learn in stocks. We lost a ton of money in stocks, but we also made some money on some plays. But we took all of those lessons from stocks and brought it into crypto.
Yeah, we brought all the knowledge, and it's the same exact thing. It's picking the best ones, what it comes down to. And this is why we're here today. And we got so many people that are, cheering for us in the background. So I appreciate everybody. But, what it really comes down to is just going with your gut and really, truly do just believing in the things that you think are right. And it is scary at times. I mean, we had our own friends that tell us, you're actually psychotic. I mean, people have told me there is something wrong with you. And I said, good. I like that. I like that you're telling me there's something wrong with me, because it knows I'm doing something right. I am not feeling comfortable. I don't want to feel comfortable. I want to go out of my comfort zone, and I want to do whatever it takes to win. Because guys like Bill Gates, guys like Jeff Bezos, guys like Steve Jobs, all these people have done things because they got out of their comfort zone, right? David Schwartz. I could go on and on, like these people. If it wasn't for them trying and doing whatever it takes, Elon Musk, there's another one. doing whatever. The guy used to sleep in the factory.
How many
Okay,
people do you think told him that he couldn't do what he wanted to do?
hundreds.
You know, and I
Hundreds.
experienced it as well. I remember this one day I was at work, and one guy, I shook his hand for like five. It was a $5,000 bet. He said, "You're still going to be here in 10 years." And I remember calling Crypto Cuzzie, and I told him about it. Craig, thank you. And Cuzzie said, "So what did you say to him?" And I said, "I'm going to go home and buy even more." I said, "Just because you want me to lose," I said, "I'm going to go home and I'm going to buy even more. Thank you." I said,
Yeah.
"Thank you." Because now you're going to piss. Now you're really going to get me going. Because now I have to prove you wrong. And that's what I did. I went home and I bought even more. So even the people in my life, whether it was career or friends or whatever it is, that kind of looked at what we were doing and they said, "Oh, you sure you take a lot of risk? You sure you want to do this?" And I said, "You don't understand. You don't understand. More." So we've had plenty of people in our lives that either laughed at, our ambitions or our goals or what we said was going to happen. I remember laying these exact events now to our friends 4 years ago, saying that this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And they were like, okay. And now the texts are coming in. Cuzzie, Bully, please, what am I buying? What am I buying? But I remember those days. You fucking giggled.
Yeah, I mean, and some people giggled, but some people were just afraid to get out of their comfort zone, right? And now the thing is that I think they were just hoping to see. And I think the biggest thing in crypto, and this is what I say, is that everybody just has this fucking TikTok brain where they look at a video, they get bored just within 2 seconds, and they scroll. And I'm
I
like,
like
dude,
to call it the microwave mentality.
it is because
Yeah.
every single person I told about XRP, you know what they told me? When is it going to get to that price? What do you care? I get it. You want a crazy return, but if I'm telling you something, and if you do your research and it sounds promising, don't you want to look into it? Maybe invest a little bit, But again, people are just so afraid of taking a risk, taking a gamble. But people like to sports gamble. People like to do other stuff.
Yes. And
It's
that's
really
not
bad.
our
It's really bad. And
It's the
guys,
sports
I've
gambling.
never sports gambled in my life. Okay, but I crypto gamble. I'll
Well,
tell
that's
you,
the fun part. Like I'm a big poker player. You're a big poker player. We play poker, and even with that, right? That type of gambling is like statistical. I know that they say, "Oh, it's the luck of the cards," but no. If you understand poker, it comes down to statistics. It comes down to odds and probability. It's the same thing in this market. If you understand odds and probability, and you can you can. It's almost like doing your homework in this market. The sports betting, I don't understand it. Like we would tell people this market is going to grow to $150 trillion, and they would just go, okay. What do you mean, okay? What do you mean, okay? I feel like even if I wasn't an investor and someone would say, yeah, this thing's at 4 trillion, it's going to go to 100 trillion. I'd be like, so what does that mean? That you can make some money in this? Like, oh, like what? Like, let me in. And I feel like the reason that the wealthy don't share their tips with people on like when people do ask is probably because they've had hundreds of conversations where even if I told you, you still wouldn't do as I say.
Yep.
You
No, and
still wouldn't do it. You would be motivated on your drive home, and then you would wake up tomorrow and you would still put in that measly average effort that you've been doing for the last 5 years. You still wouldn't do it. So I feel like that's why the wealthy don't share their tips, because they know you're lazy. You still won't do it.
no, and honestly, that's what it is. And I think it's just so many trial and errors. Hey, I'm going to help you. No, you don't want to help. Okay, I'm going to help you. No, I don't want your help. And then sooner or later, those people I'm sure that this is what it is that the moment they tried, once they got here, right? Then you had all the people that were down here saying, "Oh my God, how did you do this? How did you do this? You didn't even listen to me when I was at the bottom. Now you're going to listen to me when I'm at the top? No, I'm sorry. This is not how things work."
The best is when they say, you got lucky. The
Yeah, no.
reason that they say you got lucky is because they assume that you put in the same measly average effort over the last 4 years as they did. They went to their 9 to 5. They would come home, they would shower, they would eat, and they would sit on the couch until they went to bed. They did that for years. They didn't see all the homework that you did. You went to work after work. You went to your 9 to 5. You'd come home. You'd be studying on your commute to the on your commute to work. You'd come home. You'd hit the gym. You can't sit there and say that somebody got lucky because they did not put in the same effort as you did.
Yeah, no, it's 100% facts, and now we're starting to see it with people around us. You know, people hitting us up all the time saying, "Oh my God, you know, XRP's down 10 cents. You know, like what do I do?" Like, dude, I was worrying when XRP was at 50 cents, and then when it went down 2 cents, I was worrying about the 2 cents difference, guys. You guys are worried about fucking 20 cents. That's a big number, dude. 20 cents is a big number. What you're putting if someone, I don't know whoever's watching, but if they have a big chunk of change and they're like, all right, I'm going to put 50 grand into XRP, 20 cents is a lot of money. When you start to, it doesn't sound like 20 cents is a lot, but if you're starting to do the math and, you know, you're putting all that calculations, yeah. I mean, Drew is saying the people that are buying XRP today, honestly, I'm not going to laugh at them. I'm not going to laugh at them because I will say is that the thing will be, not financial advice, but this is my own opinion, is that the people that bought Bitcoin back then are saying the same thing, and they're you know what, they're kicking back and they're relaxing at their pool saying, I bought it $3 and the thing's now at 100 grand, right? Who knows? I mean, maybe XRP can hit $100, right? I do believe it will, not financial advice. But I'm saying is $3, $100. I mean, the return is insane. It's insane.
Well, ultimately, what it comes down to is somebody taking the courage and the initiative to pull that trigger, to send that money into that account and to buy the damn thing, to take the risk. Most people do not want to take the risk. Why? Why is that? Maybe it's because they work for 40 hours, they get their paycheck, about 30% of it is gone before it even hits their account, and then they still got to spend groceries, they still got to pay the mortgage, they still got to pay the light bill, they still got to pay the car insurance, and then, God forbid, they want to go out for dinner or go on vacation once or twice a year. At the end of the year, what does the average person have in their savings account?
Yeah,
So they look at this and they go, am I willing to risk this? It's almost amazing because it's like, you know, the people that are pulling the puppet strings, they have us positioned so desperately that even if you knew what was going on, it would be, especially in today's pricing, it would be very difficult in order for somebody to catch up. You know what I'm saying? The opportunity is still there, but it's either one, they have everybody distracted, so they don't actually know what's going on with regulations in crypto and Bank of America looking to integrate DLT technology. They have no idea TradFi is coming into DLT technology. So one is they have everybody so properly distracted that you don't know what's going on. And if that's not the case, if you are awake and you are paying attention, the second thing is that the value of the dollar is almost so worthless right now that even if you saved up your entire year and wanted to invest in it, it's almost like retail is getting to a point where they are becoming priced out. Retail is going to get priced out. We may be right at the borderline. I believe we're not late. I believe that we're just perfectly right on time. It's still kind of before the regulations. We're in the regulation period. But once institutional money in, that's it. Retail's priced out. But that's how they got you. One is either you're so distracted, or two is that there's not enough. You don't have enough money, right, saved up. The living is so expensive now. In order for you to have enough to put a substantial amount into this, it's almost like, what am I going to do?
Well, I know I know you just disagreed on this once before, but I truly do believe that if you didn't invest back then, and if you didn't go all in on your investments right now, on whatever you're doing, and again, I'm not giving you financial advice, but I'm just saying, realistically, the generational wealth path for you is completely gone. I do think that if you are not taking this seriously, I do not think if you're not stressing about this day in and day out, like I am. I know some people in our Discord that told me that they're stressing day in and day out, and that is a great thing to be having. You know, you're staying on the tip of your toes, and you are doing what whatever it takes. And I do think is that the generational wealth gap is getting smaller and smaller for crypto, right? Like you just mentioned, after you paying all the bills and taking care of I mean, thank God we don't have a family, right? Right now. I mean, I wish I did, but at the same time, it's like, I'm kind of grateful because if I had a family, I wouldn't be able to do all this right now, And at the end of the day, it's like, if I paid all my bills, what would I have left to put into investing? I would hardly have any. And that's really, realistically, the average person in America and pretty much around the world. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I say in America, it is really hard to say, I'm going to take out 10 grand and I'm going to invest it. You have other priorities to take care of.
No, absolutely. I mean, we were in our early 20s and we came together and we decided we're at a turning point right now. 5 years from now, people are either going to be married, they're going to have kids. 10 years from now, people are either going to be married, they're going to have kids. We have the choice. We can sacrifice our 20s and hope that our 30s and 40s are prosperous. Or we get to enjoy our 20s. We're going to go out to Vegas. We're going to go to the pool parties. We're going to go travel. We're going to go blow money, get the nice car, the Corvette, right? We all had that opportunity to enjoy our 20s, but you and me took a different path. Now, I know exactly what you're saying is this sense of urgency there. It's more dire now than ever. If you are just getting into crypto, you have to become obsessed. You have to have this dire sense of urgency to get, not financial advice, but to get as much as you can of whatever it is that you want, because the prices are even that much more. We had this sense of urgency back in 2022. We were going crazy. It was day in and day out. We had this sense of urgency even when everyone was fearful and everything was bearish. It's even more important now to have this sense of urgency. And it's even more difficult as a single young man, if you guys are listening to this, it's even more dire now to develop a portfolio before you have the kids, before you have the house, before you have the marriage, whatever that next step in your life is. Look, some people, they're going to get married before they decide to start investing. And that's fine. But you're not going to get to the point that someone who sacrificed their 20s is. It's just impossible. There's a lot of catching up to do. You'll be catching up in your 30s. Hopefully, the savages out there that sacrifice their 20s will be done by their 30s.
Yeah.
No Q&A.
Yeah.
No Q&A.
Yeah, if Jane Polly's in here, I added you to the Whales chat. Thank you so much for boosting our chat. We truly do appreciate it. I didn't even know.
Okay, if we could, I'd like to get a little bit into martial arts. So, speaking of martial arts, why don't you kind of explain what was that introduction for you was like? Why did you, I know you're a gym guy, but what made you decide to start to learn the craft of martial arts and that sense of mentality, the discipline, the personal growth that you've had with martial arts?
Always did. I did martial arts when I was a kid. Did Taekwondo. I mean, everybody does, everybody does. Then I started doing boxing when I was a teenager. And then I took some time off with that. And then I was always big into like mixed martial arts, watching UFC,
And I was like, you know what? I was like, maybe I should get into it. And blockchain is, he's the one. You can hear me, right?
Yeah. All right.
How about now?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Something's wrong. How about now? Yeah, that's better. Yeah. I hijacked my headphones. So blockchain actually got me introduced to mixed martial arts and MMA and stuff like that. And we went just one afternoon, me, him, and his buddy, and we just went. And you know what I will say is that just throughout the months, the years of putting in the time and the work and doing all that, I truly did appreciate the struggle. And day in and day out, there's going to be times where you're gonna choke someone out, and you're gonna win a match, and then there's times where you're gonna get absolutely destroyed, and you're gonna go home thinking, I can't believe that just happened to me. And we've had those days, and that's just like the important things of growth, and I kind of relate that to crypto because yes, I've had some wins, but I had some losses. But most of my wins outweighed the losses. And I say is that in an MMA and mixed martial arts is you're gonna have good days and you're gonna have bad days. But the skills and the things and the techniques that you learned are gonna outweigh the bad days. And I will say is that it transitions very well. And you pick up and you grasp this huge mentality. You're really day in and day out, really going through a struggle. And you're just the moment you walk into training with a whole bunch of guys that have the same mentality aspect as you, just the whole world kind of disappears when you get in there. And once we're locked in with this, just exactly how we are right now, the whole world disappears, and all we just talk about is what we truly do, our passion for.
Yeah, so martial arts is extremely humbling. I did it as a child. Nothing serious. I've done karate and I probably have done taekwondo. And I guess in middle school, I started the kickboxing, did that for a little bit. Nothing too serious with that as well. And then went into Japanese jiu-jitsu and then ended up in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And the martial arts teaches you many things besides just learning how to defend yourself. But I would say the hardest part about martial arts is getting your foot through the door. You may have a long day at work. You may have things going on in your life. And you're like, you know what? I just don't want to go. But when you leave there, you feel like you accomplished something. And it's so humbling because if you lose to somebody who's better than you, what are you going to do? You're going to kick his ass? No, it forces you to get better. There's nothing you could do if somebody's better than you, but then to make yourself better. And it really is one of the most humbling things, but it's that showing up day in and day out. When you don't show up for that week, everyone else there just got that much better. And when you do come back, they're going to be that much better than you, and you have catch up to do. So it is extremely disciplined, but then they also teach you the mindset, the mindset of strength and resilience and peacefulness, how to not rely on the martial arts in these scenarios. And I think that it does relate to, just about everyday life. If you do take time off from whatever your hobby is or whatever it is that you're getting after, you're going to come back that week later and your competition is going to be a hell of a lot further ahead than you are. So there really is no days off. Doesn't matter what you got going on. There's no days off with that. And that's especially related to the crypto market. If you do take time off and you come back and you think that, you always say all the time, this is a player versus player game. You take that time off, you come back, who are you hurting?
Yourself. And that's what it comes down to is like what's so crazy is that like you'll be gone on a vacation and you may not be on your phone for like a week, and then you'll come back and you'll be like, holy crap, how much has changed within the crypto market? All these bills that got passed. Trump just passed an executive order yesterday, SEC, like holy mackerel. Like I feel like we're just on a different planet right now with regulations and stuff like that. It's truly awesome. It's truly awesome. And just a blink of an eye, if you don't stick with the game plan, just you could fall right behind real quick. And that's what happens in crypto. You can miss some golden opportunities if guys, let's say I stopped investing in XRP and then I came back years later and then all of a sudden this thing's at $3. I missed all my opportunity. You only hurt yourself.
Could you tell us a little bit of some of the lessons that you took maybe from the mats and then brought that into your life or your financial hustle?
I would just say to, strive to be better. Every day is, just working hard and, just being 1% better, doing whatever it takes. I mean, yeah, you may have one bad day and that's how it is. You're going to have a bad day when you train and you're going to go home and you're going to feel like giving up on your dreams and your passions. Everybody has that journey, whether if it's investing or going to work and having a bad day, or, you go to, it could be anything in general. You can have a bad day. It could be a roadblock and you could want to give up. But if you give up, the only person you're hurting is yourself. But if you continue the journey, I promise you, 30 days later, it may change the whole roadmap for you. And that's truly what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, look, you probably see it all the time. The guys were like, I was here a couple years ago and I came back and he was in my class and now look at where he's at and I'm still in the beginning. You see people that give up all the time, they take some time off. whatever the case is. Ultimately, I felt that I would feel like a loser if I had quit. I don't know what it is. I can't lose. I don't lose. I do not lose. That's just, I have to win, you know, and when I do set my mind to it, and maybe that just comes down to a childhood of competitive sports and just being a competitive man, I guess, as it is. But I don't think I would ever I don't think I could ever live with myself with giving up on something. I don't see that.
100%. Listen, you can try, but listen, if you give up on something and then you look back and be like, holy crap, I just gave up on my dreams. There's nothing more disappointing in life than that, you know? Like imagine, you know, someone that, you know, had a chance to invest. They had their buddies telling them, you know, dude, buy this, you know, look into it, you know, and they don't, and then they look, their dreams are gone. The house that they wanted, gone. The car that they wanted, gone. You know, the time and the value that they wanted, gone.
Well, it comes with procrastination. You know what I'm saying? People are like, I'll get to it. And that I will get to it ends up being a year later. It ends up being you're 30 years old now and you have a kid. That's that procrastination. They decide I'll do it tomorrow. Instead of, no, you're going to go to bed late tonight and you're going to go on the computer and you're going to work. You're going to figure it out tonight. There is no tomorrow. There absolutely is no tomorrow. There has to be this sense of urgency with just about everything that you do. Now, I'm not so sure if it's a New York thing where we have to have double the time in the day as if we only have 12 hours. I don't know, maybe it's a New York speed or what it is, but that sense of urgency is essential to having some sort of breakthrough in personal growth and your success. You have to be obsessed about it. You have to have an obsession.
That's what it all comes down to. You have to have an obsession with the dream. Crypto Garage, if you wanna come into the live, and say how I'm delusional and my friend's expressions saying
buddy, my eyes are up here, sweetheart.
Yeah, if you want to come in the chat, go ahead, man.
Stop reading the Q&As. Stop reading the Qs.
Let's go on a different topic. Let's hear it.
Can we go a little bit into your career with traditional finance?
Yeah, so like I said, I graduated school with a degree in finance, working TradFi for now, trying to move into the crypto space, trying to work in institutional custody at some big crypto exchanges. I do love TradFi, and I do like how it transitioned very well. And I will tell you is that, you know, I pick up a lot of cool things in TradFi that, you know, I'm able to bring to, you know, my friends and my family, especially, you know, telling them, like the other day, we just had some meeting and they were talking about cross-border payments and stable coins. And I'm like,
your mind was probably exploding.
I was calling my worker and I said, run. I said, get here right now and listen to this. I said, they are talking about cross-border payments. I said, they're already testing things with cross-border payments. Like, you would never hear that years ago. You would never hear that 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 2 years ago. We lived in the wild, wild west when it came to crypto. And then all of a sudden now you got TradFi moving into a space. So it's good. It's really cool to see the transition in TradFi along the way after I graduated out of college and moving and seeing how, you know, crypto is now becoming a TradFi. You know, ETFs are going live. You're hearing financial advisors start talking about crypto and ETFs and approaching it to their clients about, oh my God, you know, this is something to put into your 401k. So it's really interesting. It truly is. And it's really cool to see some clientele in the retail who is in their 50s and 60s and their 40s who are investing in their mega ultra high net worth portfolios. And they're like, dude, like I can invest into this and put it in my 401k while my financial advisors managing it for me. Like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then sooner or later, I promise you, I truly do think this is what's going to happen, is that all firms are going to, you know, work with TradFi with institutional grade custody for crypto. And I think they're going to be able, each person is going to have their own wallet when it comes to investing and being able to, buy certain cryptos and, being able to build your portfolio even stronger and being able to actually buy the token rather than just the ETF. So
this is what's so exciting is that this is a part of your research as well as mine. We're watching TradFi. It's almost as if they have institutional FOMO. They're dying to come in. And you're seeing this through the growth of DeFi, the exploration of DeFi, RWAs, stablecoin adoption, even people developing private ledgers, right, for their own ecosystem. We're watching TradFi almost become emotional about getting in because they don't want to be the blockbusters of DLT and blockchain and Web3. So it's got to be really exciting to be on the tail end of it and looking around your own ecosystem and your own career path and seeing the adoption take place in the boardrooms and the meetings.
Well, it's cool to see them evolve. They are evolving, and that's what it needs to happen. Evolution is a part of life and society, and things change in society. Going back 100 years, so many things have changed, and that all of a sudden, just within a 5-year span of us, investing into crypto and stocks, we're about to see Wall Street 2.0 with Ondo Securities tokenizing the whole entire market. Rumors are that they're going to be a 24/7 stock trading. You never had this before. We went from T+5 to T+4 to T+3 to T+1 now. Sooner or later, it's going to be instantaneously payments. Everything is going to be same-second settlements. It's truly crazy, and it's crazy from the moment I started in TradFi and how much we have grown over a period of time. It just shows how the whole industry is evolving, and it's going to become even stronger. It's going to make TradFi even stronger. It's going to make crypto even stronger. It's going to make the whole entire world even stronger.
I remember you telling me you would tell the people within your own work about Web3, and they would giggle at you. They'd say, well, come on. Now, the whole narratives have shifted. So what was that like talking to people that were deeply into TradFi and just not seeing what you saw years before?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because when I used to work with a group of people at a different firm, we worked with a group of like 8 or 9, and I would always approach them about this is how we should bring it to our clients, and this is what we should do and stuff like that. And they're stuck in the old ways, the old system, and that's great. That's how they built their business. But there always comes a time where if you want to evolve your business, you got to take things to the next level. And the thing is that I've seen so many times where I've approached this opportunity and I just got constantly shut down. So I said, you know what? I said, I'm not even going to bring it up to them anymore. I said, but you know what? Maybe I should start asking management about if there's any things that we can do to evolve, this ecosystem, with everybody here. If there's any way, the market can expand, can the firm, start allowing us to, being able to invest in ETFs. This was a couple of years ago. And I remember, sitting down with my manager and asking them all this stuff. And they said, there's nothing we could do.
Now, do you think that resistance that you got when you were trying to introduce Web3 into your firm, do you think that was because of maybe cultural reasons that they're just stuck in their old ways? No, this is how money works. Or did you ever hear pending regulations? Did they ever blame it on the regulations, or was it their own personal traditional viewpoint on money as to why they rejected all of these?
I don't know if it's the reason why they rejected it. I think it just had to go with once one bank has adopted it, then all banks will be able to adopt it. And, there's even till this day, I really don't know. I don't know any firms that are really talking about, ETFs, about Bitcoin or anything. It's just so new. It's still the wild, wild west in TradFi. You don't really hear so many. It's getting more popular. But again, like most clients, they still have no idea what it's about. And if I'm going to be honest, and that's what pushes away. But again, there's going to be a time when regulations and clarity start to come out. And I truly do believe that's when all banks and all firms at the same exact time are going to be able to start offering this to their clients.
Well, not for nothing. I mean, I think I gotta say it was probably Franklin Templeton had to be one of the earliest ones out there to start tokenizing money market funds with Stellar. And you got to be thinking, you know, if your competition is stumbled upon a technology that's going to help them, you got to be thinking like of course you're looking at your competition and seeing what they're doing, right? If you hear BlackRock is doing this, you don't think that Vanguard's going to be like, oh my God, you know? So it's like a domino effect. One goes and then the next and then the next and then the next.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's the domino theory, you know? It's like once one major firm does it, then they're all going to do it. And then it's crazy because you saw BlackRock talk about Larry Fink the moment he started talking about tokenizing every single QSIP, every single stock, tokenizing real estate, doing all these things. That's the moment you've seen things change really fast. You've seen a lot of industries and a lot more people talk about crypto, especially at firms like never before. But once the big dogs do it, then everybody does it, you know? And that's what I feel is like once Larry Fink did it.
Yeah, they don't want to be the blockbusters of blockchain.
Yeah, and Larry Fink, it was so funny because these two guys, Jamie Dimon and Larry Fink, they bashed crypto for years, saying money laundering, this, it's all a scam. But these are the people that have spin-off companies that are putting their money offshore, investing into, you know, Bitcoin and other assets and other, you know, whatever asset it is, whatever crypto. But I will say is that, yeah, they're doing it behind the scenes.
Well, I would like to read this if I could, because this is exactly what we're talking about. Coach JV had tweeted something this morning. He said, wake the fuck up. They told you Bitcoin was a scam. They said it was for criminals. They told institutions to stay away. Meanwhile, BlackRock quietly studied it. They built the infrastructure, positioned themselves for the takeover. In 2017, Larry Fink called Bitcoin an index of money laundering. By 2023, he called it digital gold. And by 2025, BlackRock will control the rails for institutional crypto. That wasn't by accident. They told you to look away. They told you while they laid the new financial foundation behind the curtain, they told you to look away. Then the gates opened, but only after they owned the infrastructure, the liquidity, and the access points. BlackRock did not FOMO in. They engineered the new system. This is not decentralization. This is absorption. The financial elite now wear a Bitcoin badge. Make sure your family's positioned before 2030. Welcome to the new system. Stay awake. So yes, Jamie Dimon did it. Larry Fink did it as well. And it's almost like and they did it through the mainstream media, right? Because when Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, speaks, people listen. When Larry Fink speaks, people listen. When he's telling people, oh, it's a scam for money laundering, for criminals, it had an effect on the market. I remember very clearly the day that Jamie Dimon said that if any of my employees or my traders get caught owning Bitcoin, they will be fired. I remember it that day. And the whole thing tanked. When these people speak, they listen. And it was almost perfect manipulation because it was days later that they would. What did JP Morgan do? Jamie Dimon said this, and then days later they started doing something with Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean they have offshore accounts. I mean they you know, it's not connected to JP Morgan whatsoever. But they transfer money one way or another, and somehow it goes into a private company, and they're able to invest. This is what these people do, man. And then somehow it goes right back into the balance sheet of JP Morgan. You know, and they'll be like, oh, JP Morgan bought 30,000 Bitcoin, and meanwhile they were buying that in 2017. You know, like, I mean, guys, this is why I say is that you can't trust the media, and this goes. And you know what's crazy is there's a lot of TradFi financial advisors that listen to this guy. You know, they listen to this guy, Jamie Dimon, because again, he's the biggest guy. He's the biggest guy out there that when he speaks, everybody listens, right? And there's so many financial advisors that say, man, I wish I never listened to him. And that's the cold hard truth is that they don't want us to get rich, you know? They don't want us to get rich. We have to do the opposite of what they say. And you know what? This is how we make or break our portfolios. Yeah, exactly. Someone exactly said exactly how it is that they've been doing the total opposite of what these people or these firms have been saying.
You have to.
And they're winning. It's so weird, right? It's so weird, right? That people like Jim Cramer, Larry Fink, Jamie Dimon, they're saying all these things about, oh, Bitcoin's a scam, Ethereum's a scam, XRP's a scam. Meanwhile, like you guys are the ones that are buying it. So whatever.
So how do you personally discern truth from manipulation or fear mongering from the media?
You know what? It's like crazy because I feel like I don't want to talk conspiracy theories, but I feel like after a while, it's like, people started to wake up and realize that, the people on TV and the people that, are, that speak up and have the biggest minds, they're the biggest liars. They're the biggest liars. And, there's so many people that listen to these guys and, they were just proved wrong every time. And it's like, what if we do the opposite? Maybe if we go against the media, what if we don't listen to the media and we do the total opposite? And then we started to see people win. And then I was like, all right, maybe these guys are not on the same side as us. And the reality is that they need us to survive. They need us to survive. And that's how it works.
Doing the opposite of what the 99% are doing. It's almost funny because I was saying this on Cosmic and Bullish Babes Live today, is that it's almost as if they know exactly how to get a reaction out of retail, right? When they tell you, when there's that fear mongering going on, right? FTX or whatever it is, right? The narrative that they want to push, they can alter the price. And whenever retail is getting out, they're buying. Whenever retail is getting in, they're selling. It's almost like you have to do the opposite of what the 99% do, because by the time you hear about it, it's already too late.
Yeah, I say that, and majority of the time, yes, but sometimes no. There's obviously, there's some opportunity, and the people that are waking up and getting new into the crypto space, they're starting to realize that, they can make some life-changing money right now. They just got to, put their head down and do the same exact strategy as what we had back in the day, And it's crazy because, if you just go with that game plan and just, silence all the noise in the room and you just stick with the game plan, that's just how it's going to go. But someone mentioned hedge fund managers, these guys, again, Jim Cramer was a big hedge fund manager, they want to do this. They want us to do the exact opposite of what they're doing, So what if we do this, do the opposite of what the 99% does, and why don't we play on the same level field as them? And I promise you is that we're going to win. And it's so cool that, now you got people that are creating apps on what the government and, government officials are doing. And we're just copying their plays and we're making all this money. So at the same time, it's crazy how we can now see in crypto that, maybe if we just do the opposite, maybe we could somehow win. And that's the reality. And it woke up, and COVID woke up a lot of minds. COVID sure did change a lot of people's thoughts.
Absolutely. I think that was the key indicator for a lot of people to maybe take things into their own hands. Some people woke up, some people didn't. What I would like to ask you is AI involved with this space. It's going to get to a point where, I already think now that a majority of the market is kind of moving and dictated by bots. So what do you think? Do you think that it's going to get to a point where the average person in the future will have the ability to get involved with AI and trading?
Using AI trading bots to start trading? Is that what you're asking? It's possible. Like I said, I truly do believe that AI is going to take over the world one way or another. It's going to take out a lot of jobs. But yeah, it's going to transform a lot of things, especially in the crypto space. I can't really say exactly what, but I do believe that it will transform. And we got to just take advantage of it. And that's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. And that's what we did. We taken advantage of every single opportunity. Guys, we've been buying in the bear market for the last 4 years, and we took total advantage of every single opportunity. So, when you see an opportunity, you got to strike while the iron's hot. Otherwise, you're going to miss out.
Well, I think that AI is going to become so heavily involved in everyday life. And when you have these AI agents that are built into the operating system of maybe your phone or your computer, and you allow it access to have connections to your calendar, to your bank account, to your trading profile, to your Twitter, to your YouTube, and it knows you, it understands you. It's going to become your own personal assistant. I don't understand at that point when AI does does have that ability to self-execute based off of your own commands. You know what I'm saying? I want you to send 20 XRP over to Cuzzie. It'll do that for you.
Yeah.
If that's the case, what's stopping? Like when AI is at that point where it's so heavily involved in people's lives and the average person has access to it because it's built into the operating system of maybe some of the software that they're using, what does the market look like then? Because these bots will be executing trades quicker than you and I could react. In and out arbitrage trading all day long for you if that's what you assign it to do. So what does the trading look like once we get to that point where it's like the computers are doing it?
Maybe we don't even need financial advisors at that point. You know, what if AI just completely just does everything for us, and you don't need to pay? But again, we listen at Consensus. I remember is that we're at Consensus, and we heard the CEO of Tezos have a CEO of an AI company. I forgot which one it was, but I do remember is that they were talking about implementing AI with MetaMask, and using ERC tokens and being able to. So this way, if someone were to pay, blockchain, let's say I were to pay blockchain and I never knew how to use a MetaMask wallet before, I can ask AI, say, hey, send blockchain $35 in Ethereum. And it would ask, show the viewing summary of the trade, and it would ask me if that's complete, swipe to complete. Like these things are going to happen really within a blink of an eye. And I do believe by 2030, we're going to see a whole different ballgame. It's going to be a whole different ballgame.
I think the space will be almost unrecognizable by 2030. I think by 2030, once institutions are in, I mean, you have at that point, I think that it's game over. If you didn't take advantage of the 2020s, by 2030, it'll probably be just like investing in the S&P 500 today. Your average return will probably be 5 to 10%, 8% a year. Once institutional volume does come in, I think that it's going to behave similar to the S&P 500. It's going to be a completely different world. I think that AI in 2030 is going to be so heavily integrated to everybody's daily lives that I think it'll be even harder for people to discern manipulation from the truth by 2030. I think it's only going to get even harder.
Yeah. And I mean, I think of it this way, is that this is a lot of people's last chance to make generational wealth. You're never going to have another opportunity like this, maybe for the next 100 years, right? We'll all be dead in 100 years, right? And there'll be another opportunity in 100 years. But I do believe is that the dot-com bubble was big, and this is the new biggest thing. Maybe it won't happen for the next 50 years. I don't know. 100, I don't know. But I'm saying is that this is the make or break for us, right? And if everybody just puts their head down and just works hard through these tough times or whatever it is, and they, if they just do it right now, it's all going to pay off. It's all going to pay off. And that's what I continuously say for all my viewers, for all my friends, even family listening. I mean, it's truly crazy. I mean, we had this mindset back then, and it's even so, we just even haven't given up. I mean, we're still going. But I will say is that, and I'll be completely transparent with everybody, is that once price rises, I'm not buying anymore. I'm done. I'm sitting back in this chair. I'm saying my due diligence is done. I did my homework for 7-8 years of hard work. And you know what? I think I've done enough for my community.
He's fucking lying. Because you know what? Look at the prices where they are now. We probably said the same thing 3 years ago. You're fucking lying.
Well, if I'm going to be honest, like if the coin's $1,000, I'm not going to buy anymore. I can go on a nice trip to Hawaii or something. Well, why am I going to buy it? Listen, like at that point, like I could just enjoy the things that I have. I don't really care. I mean, obviously I would want to put my money to work elsewhere, but my job is done here, man. I mean, I put in so much work and day in and day out. And if anything, I've taught this mastermind in front of me to do it all. So, and it's true. It's true. I mean, like I said, and that's why I say that's what's so cool about our Discord is that we don't ask anyone for any money or stuff like that. We don't care. We just like to we just like to talk and have some conversations with some like-minded people. Yeah.
What do you think that we could be doing better?
Continuously work hard. That's it. That's it. It's just to continue to work hard. There's no such thing as enough. There's no such thing. So when I say I'm done in crypto and I'm done buying coins, at the end of the day, it's like I would do it again. I would do if we could go back in time and just see what we've become right now. I would do this all over again. It's like we've gone through so much from the beginning all the way up to now, and it's like, man, like we have changed mentally, physically, emotionally. It's like, dude, like we don't even care if the market went from an 83 greed all the way down to a 15 number of a greed level on coin market cap. Like we're not afraid. Like, and people would be jumping out their windows, freaking out if they saw their portfolio drop maybe 500, 600, maybe 100, $1,000. I don't know. Some people have different, portfolios than me. But I will say is that, at the end of the day, it's just continuing to keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop.
What do you think that the next step looks for you and me?
As in what?
I guess whatever it is that you and me are building here.
I think at the end of the day is to continue to keep doing what we're doing. And this is what I really like is that we're not so focused on us anymore. Yeah, we're focused on us personally, face to face. But right now we're educating people. I mean, this is the coolest thing that I've ever had. Is to think that we have a chat with over 200 people that think we're awesome, that listen to all the things that we sang and how much all the motivational thing. It's so cool. And I'd rather take that and see it. It's like when I get to see so many people in our chat, like be like, yo, the other day someone's like, I just did all my research in quant because you mentioned quant. And it's like, dude, like when that person hits that XYZ bag, and I hear that, I'm like, dude, this is the coolest story ever. It's the coolest story ever to put a smile on their face and say, I just made some generational wealth because I just scrolled through some guy blockchain and Crypto Cuzzie's TikTok, and somehow I make generational wealth by buying some quant. Like, dude, like this is, it's so cool, man. It's so cool. And right now I just want to be an educator and just continue to give back to my community.
Yeah, look, it's one thing when we are heavily researched on these projects and we can present, all of our years of knowledge, and we truly are a shortcut to some of these people. That's one thing. It's another complete thing when we're also, I guess, formulating the mentality of early investors. You know what I'm saying? Don't be emotional. Look into the proper things, right? How do you do your own research? It's another thing when you're creating educated investors because, look, not for nothing, but, if you end up making money, that's great. But I want everyone to be just as good, if not much better than me in terms of the researching and finding the projects, because that's the community we're looking for, is that we are giving to each other. We're bouncing back ideas and projects and ways that we can continue to grow. I just want a whole community of fucking savages.
Yeah.
Fucking savages.
And we just built an army, and it's so cool to see that so many people are doing the same thing. Like when I heard someone say the other day that they're literally thinking the same thing as me, like they're stressing out because there's that like time clock that's like it was here 5 years ago, and then like we're slowly getting to the point where this is like the end point right here when utility blows up and like we're going off the charts. Like that's how like everybody should be. Like literally the time clock is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's truly crazy to see that people are stressing out just as much as us.
Well, that's what I love. I love seeing the people in the Discord where they're like, hey, I just started this in November. And they're like, look at where I'm at now. And all we could do is just go, come on now. Come on, pat yourself on the back because that's fucking sick. I know you sacrificed for that. I know you were disciplined enough to get to where you are. That sense of urgency is everything. And I think that's really the key to success is that sense of urgency. You can't put it off to tomorrow. There is no, I'll do it later. None of that. No, you're going to do it now and you're going to do it right.
like when I hear people say like they just bought like 1,000 XRP, like it's mind blowing because like that's almost like $4,000. Like someone
Look,
that's
if XRP is going to where it's going, you're gonna do fine with that, you know. But yes, like you said, $4,000, and then 2 years ago it was, what would that cost you? You know.
yeah, but I $500, but realistically, it's like this. It's like to say like you just took out $4,000 and you just invested it and put your money to work, like just shows me like how much you're really trying because most people don't even have $4,000, dude. Most people don't even have $4,000 to invest, and it's like at that point, it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And
The people that I want to surround myself with are the fucking savages. The people that are saying, I'm giving my all and I'm researching and I'm investing everything that I could. I sold my shoes just to get a couple more coins. Like, these are the people that look, guys, the generational wealth is going to come. It's going to come to a lot of you. What you do with that dictates everything. But the people that are disciplined now and that are behaving in that professional manner, those are the people that I'm excited to see what they do with the generational wealth. What businesses will they build? What charities will they contribute to? These are the people that I want to be involved with because they're doing the hard work now. There's a reason that 70, 80% of lottery winners go broke within the first 5 years. Why? Because they never graduated from that middle class or poor man mentality. They're consumers. They're spending the money. People are learning how to become financially literate now before they have the money. So even when the money comes, they're not going to fuck it up. And those are the people that I am so excited to see what their next 5 years looks like.
yeah, and that's what I like. That's what's the most like coolest thing ever to see is that when I see people in our chat, they're up 1,200%. I'm like, dude, I'm like, there's people out there that are pulling that off. Like that's truly crazy, and then they're part of our community. They're pulling this off, and then I'm not taking their advice, but like I'm doing their due diligence, and like I'm seeing it, I'm doing the same thing, and I'm up 500% on a coin, and I'm like, how is this even possible? I'm like, it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for my community, and the number one thing for me is seeing my community just do better. You know?
And I think the exciting thing is like, you know, we got a lot of people that are listening to us, and there's not many that are in their 20s, right? There are a lot of people that are fully developed in their life. They maybe have children, and they're married, they have the house. And these people are going much harder than the 20-year-olds, than the 30-year-olds, because they have this sense of urgency. They've seen both sides of it. They know, maybe they were around to see what happened in the early 2000s with the tech boom, and they see the opportunity in it. Sometimes all you need is just to present something or say something in a particular manner for someone to sit there and go, you know what? Is that possible? And if it is possible, what the fuck am I doing about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Some people. I don't even know. It's crazy. It's crazy to say how much has changed, and there's so much room for growth, and how much is about it. Like I said, I do think that this industry is still new, and I do believe by 2030, it's like at that point, like
it's game over. It's game over by 2030.
Yeah.
You know, look, we have regulations coming in 2025. There's probably going to be more as time goes on. You know, they're going to expand into different sectors. Hopefully they all stay beneficial to it. But by 2030, guys, I think that's it. I think you had the opportunity to do what you were doing, and probably by 2030, everyone will be in the position that they're in now. They'll be looking back like, why did I buy Apple in 2010? Why did I buy Microsoft in 2008? Like, what was I doing? Like, that's the conversations you're going to hear in 2030. Why didn't I buy Ripple? What was I doing? Why didn't I buy, Chainlink? What was I doing? You're going to hear those conversations now.
Yeah, and I can't even. And it's crazy because there's a lot of kids that are our age, and they're completely like just brainwashed, and they're just looking completely the other way. And what's crazy is when we went to Consensus in Texas, you would think that there's kids that are our age, 20s, in their early 20s, maybe mid 30s, early 30s. No, it's the people that have gone through the struggles and have gone through the different levels, like the dot-com bubble. The people that are in their 40s and 50s, these are the people that are attending the events. These are the people that are attending the events.
That was the craziest part, is when we were going to these events, the average person around there, we looked around, we said, there is no one here in their 20s. Almost nobody.
Nope.
A lot of people, it's like, yeah, I'm about to retire. About to retire? What do you mean?
Yeah, the story, yeah. It's like, and then like we're sitting here like thinking, like, are we at the right event? Like, why are we, like, what's going on here? And I will tell you is that it was the greatest experience I've learned. It's because it just shows that, like, you would think that from all the TikToks that you see and stuff like that, like, you believe all this nonsense, and it's like the real people that are doing their homework are the people that are in, their mid 40s and 50s, and these are the people that are striving to succeed.
I would like to ask you, I'd like to go into something now. We were talking about this in private. We even talked about this in the after hours in the Discord, but the future of blockchain technology, is it truly freedom, or is it truly a means to control? Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin particularly, was created for this means of decentralization, right? We no longer want to have a centralized means of a monetary system, Federal Reserve, a central bank, and it gives people the ability to transact, right? Hopefully privately, hopefully freely. With where we are transitioning into, right? You got the digital identities, you got the CBDCs coming in, even the stablecoins. Do you believe that we are staying true to that concept of freedom, or will the elites forever have a means of which they can keep a leash on you?
Come on. We know the answer is that it gives them more control than ever before. They wouldn't bring this to the world if they didn't have a chance to gain control over us even more. Okay, they wouldn't just give up their power, and they want to be like, here you go, the retail. I'm gonna give this control to you guys because you guys are now free. Sorry, I got a call. Are you still there? Yeah. So I say is that the elites are not giving us the keys to freedom and saying, you guys deserve this. No, they're going to take more control of us than ever before. They're going to see every single transaction. They're going to be able to, in my eyes, they're going to be able to turn off digital dollars and being able to see all the transactions and being able to view all these different types of things. It's an illusion. It is an illusion. And I think that's what people get confused about. And I could be wrong. But I will say is that people are so in this crypto space because they say, oh, it gives everybody, it's decentralized and everything's, no, I truly do believe that it gives them more access than ever before.
Ultimately, I think that it depends on the networks and the regulations, the way that they pass it, right? Everyone was cheering the Genius Act, and I think the Genius Act is the right step towards global institutional adoption for stablecoins, which results into the crypto market. It bleeds into it. But we went through the White House crypto report recently, and if I could, I would like to go through it. On pages 6 and 7, they talk about pro-stablecoin, anti-CBDC in America, right? The dollar is backed by stablecoins. It's a retail CBDC is going to be banned. And they're claiming that this is a win for private crypto. No government coin is watching your wallet. And then we start to get into security features, right, of stablecoins. So in the Genius Act, they declare that stablecoins must allow freezes and seizures with oversight. This is to keep criminals out and to keep the good projects in, which is ironic. Pages 72 to 78, they go into a retail CBDC. It's too risky for freedom and privacy, right? No U.S. government coin to track your money. This is what I find so funny is because even within our own regulations, they're prompting this idea of freedom, right, and privacy. But then they have in here, and maybe they just snuck it in, and maybe they didn't think people would see it, but stablecoins must allow freezes and seizures with oversights to keep criminals out. Who is that to declare who was a good actor and who was a bad actor. I don't know if you remember, but in Canada during COVID, the protesters, they shut their bank account off. They freeze their bank account. You're telling me that this regulation, this law of the land, allows for the same control? Now, people always say that they don't want a retail CBDC. I don't either. I don't think that CBDCs are a good thing for freedom. But you know what else isn't a good thing for personal freedom? A stablecoin. A stablecoin is absolutely the same thing as a CBDC. The only difference between the two is the issuer. The issuer either comes from a central bank for a central bank digital currency, or a stablecoin's issuer is a private entity. The only difference between the two is the issuer. They are both programmable money. They are both public. They both have the ability for freezes and seizures. All of it. It's controllable, programmable money. They control the money. They control you. They still have the ability to shut off your bank account. Now, I don't know if it's going to be as strict as you typed something on Twitter that was a little bit mean. We're freezing your bank account, or you didn't show up to work enough days. You were shutting your bank account off. You drove too many miles in your gasoline vehicle. We're going to shut your bank account off. I don't know to the extent of type of control it is. But when you read the actual regulations, it doesn't seem as if they are truly for the freedom and the privacy, especially if they still have control.
I mean, I totally agree. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I do think that they're going to have more control than ever before. It's blindsided. And, people, today's day and age, that they don't read the fine print. They just skim through it and they go, all right, this sounds really cool and all. But I do think that there's some pros and cons to it. The pros are crypto is becoming more regulated than ever before. Adoption's starting to come. But the cons are, again, the more control part, and that's the real issue that people are not noticing, and I do think that it's going to play a major factor within the next 2 to 10 years, and they're going to be like, well, you guys voted for this, you guys wanted this, now here it is. But let me run to the bathroom real quick, maybe respond, do some Q&As in the chat real quick.
Go ahead, buddy. Even in here, pages 104 to 111, they talk about reporting rules. They state that validators, brokers, and platforms must report information. So you're telling me that your exchange has to report your financial means to whatever government entity wants the information on you. Your exchange will not protect you. They will know exactly what you bought, when you bought it, how much you bought it, what wallet you sent it to. All of that information, the exchanges, your broker, your platforms have to give over that information. Absolutely fantastic. It's fantastic. I do think that in certain aspects, it does give you a little bit of freedom, right? Because there will be, you will have the ability to own 100% of your data on the chain. I think that that's a pro. We're not going to give that to Facebook. We're not going to give that to TikTok. If I have data that my platforms are collecting, it's mine, right? I have ownership to that data. And I do believe, somebody could correct me, but I do believe in Europe, they maybe have laws where they do own their data. Maybe it's somewhere in Asia. But I do believe that data ownership is huge in over on that side of the world. Not so relevant here in the United States. It's absolutely sick. I don't know. I think that there's certain aspects of it where it is freedom, and I think that there's plenty of aspects where it is control. The ability to become your own bank, right? Yeah, I think that that's absolutely coming, right? The ability for within DeFi, you'll have the ability for borrowing and lending and earning passive income, all of those things. You will cut out the middleman of the bank, but does that mean that they're going to give up control? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I think it's just very interesting to see in real time exactly what is laying out in front of us. This is why paying attention to regulations is so important, because this is where they start to sneak in this shit. And if you're not paying attention to it, it'll go right over your head. You'll be cheering for something that may or may not give you more privacy, may or may not give you more freedom, may or may not affect your livelihood and affect your lives. You have to pay attention to what is going on. If not, you're going to get wrecked. I don't know how else to tell it to you.
I agree. I totally agree. All right, let's get some more questions. Ask me anything you want.
Okay, give me 1 second, brother. Any projects that you're really excited about right now?
Projects I'm excited about. Obviously XRP with the lawsuit ended and a lot of things coming about. We'll see how these months, now that the cape has, come off, now we can see what really is behind the scenes and how much price appreciation will really get impacted, now that the lawsuit's over. Now we're talking about cross-border payments. Truly do like HBAR. They got some big partnerships up the charts. It's literally insane. One project, again, that's been on my radar, especially for people, that need to learn about ICP. Go watch Blockchain Bullies on Twitter. I don't know if you have seen his Twitter or go watch his TikTok videos, but he gives a deep understanding about, ICP. I've had it, but he've actually touched on a lot of things that I didn't have any idea about. ICP is just a sleeper. It's an absolute sleeper. It's insane. How much growth it has. But other coins, XDC is another one. XDC is another one that can blow through the charts. Look at that. Look at that chart. It's down about 99.
Boring. This is for Internet Computer Protocol, ladies and gentlemen. Look how boring this price chart is, right? This is the all-time. Okay, we're sitting down at this extraction level. One of the things that I think, and it's really as I'm continuing to learn a little bit more about Internet Computer Protocol, it might just fit into that whole narrative of freedom. You have the ability to own your own AI, your data, your own integration, software coding, everything on there. It is truly like the internet of decentralization, and it's just built into the blockchain. There is no central authority control. I have to say ICP is probably one of the projects that I'm continuing to learn about it, and as I keep learning more, I go, oh my God, I can't believe this thing went from $700 to $5. It's going sideways since almost 2022. For 2022, it's been going sideways, and I love that. I love when the charts are sideways and boring and scary and red. I love that.
Yeah, it's great because, again, a couple of years ago, coins have been completely down 60, 70%. Then all of a sudden, here we are where we are now, and coins are, back to all-time highs, even pushing past that. So, just look at Solana. $4, we're at close to $200 again. It's just only going higher and higher, this market. And yeah, I truly do believe there's other coins like Avalanche that are, going to be even more popular in the coming years. I do think AI is going to play a massive role in the future, as we have mentioned. I do think AI dominance is going to get even higher by 2030, and I do believe that the ISO coins and the banking coins are going to come first, and I do believe other sectors are going to come next. But it's all perspective. It's all speculative at the moment until we see some real legal clarity and regulations. But again, we're investing into things that are complete speculative.
Well, yeah, that's because almost the entire market is still driven by speculation.
Yep.
Do you think that regulations will be the catalyst for that institutional green light, that institutional adoption?
Yeah, I think that they do need that, before they start saying, I think they have behind the scenes all the deals and everything are ready to go, right? XRP has 1,700 NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, contracts that they already have. And I just think that they're waiting on one thing, and it's just the regulations. And I think when that goes live, I do think is that we're only going up from here. skyrocketing. What do you think, blockchain?
Yeah, I think that regulations will be the key indicator for institutional adoption of green lights. Particularly, I think that it's going to have to be the Clarity Act. For you guys that are just coming in, the Clarity Act is a piece of legislation that's going to get passed in the United States, and it is dictating the classification of digital assets. They're going to look at, on an individual basis, they're going to look at some of these projects and they're going to declare whether they are a security or they're a commodity. If they're a security, they have to be they have to have oversight from the SEC. If they're a commodity, the oversight has to come from the CFTC. But me and Crypto Cuzzie have this keen prediction that a lot of these assets are not going to fall black or white into a security or into the classification of a commodity. I honestly think that there are going to be some tokens out there that have to fall into a different category. Whether it's a digital asset or it's a currency, I'm not so sure exactly how they're going to decide it. But from what I've seen within the Clarity Act proposals, I don't see there being a third option. It's either a security, a commodity, SEC, or the CFTC.
I totally agree. But what other projects are you looking at specifically?
Okay. I'm still very much digging into Constellation DAG. One of the things that really caught my eye with Constellation DAG was the adoption from the U.S. military. They have active partnerships with the U.S. Air Force. Come on, the Department of Defense. They have active partnerships with the Department of the Treasury, the U.S. Transportation Command, Air Mobility Command, and the 618th AOC, Civil Reserve's Air Fleet partner. Constellation DAG, for you guys that don't know, they do they're basically data, securitizing data, and the way that they obtain the means of their consensus is very different than any other type of blockchain. They actually do it through DAG. That's the means of their consensus. But it's almost like, instead of a blockchain, right, when it comes to consensus, think of it like a skyscraper. Once one validator confirms the information, it goes up to the next floor, to the next validator, and that's basically how it goes. It's up or down. With the DAG, with the way that they come to a consensus, it's almost like a spider web. It's almost like it scales out in multiple different directions. So the way that they come to consensus, as well as the TPS, almost the entire scalability of it, makes the protocol very attractive to these institutions that really need secure data. This thing is sitting at $104 million market cap. It's at 3 cents. I mean, it's definitely something to research, but as I'm continuing to look into it, honestly, I was even looking into becoming a DAG validator. Some of the requirements were like 250,000 DAG to run the validator. To be honest with you, I'm kind of interested to see what goes on with Quant. When Quant does decide to open to the public validation, I'm going to look into it.
Let's see. What was the biggest thing in your journey that you had? I would definitely say that the biggest barricade in your journey, as of today, what was the biggest thing that was holding you back to push you to the next level?
I would probably have to say it's yourself, right? Ultimately, it's yourself, because I've been in positions where I had absolutely no money and I was still putting everything that I could into this market. So I couldn't say it was money. There was moments where I wasn't feeling good, and I would still, I think that ultimately it's your mindset, and I think that that's true for everybody. Your mind, the power of the mind, is either your best friend or your enemy. is either going to control you or it's going to propel you out of that situation into something that you are working towards. It's almost the same thing as like manifesting. Like you almost have to rewire your brain to be comfortable in those uncomfortable positions. So regardless of how messed up your day is, regardless of how little is in your bank account, how little time you have, how tired you are, there's always 1,000 excuses. But if you can't control your mind, you have absolutely no control over your future, your destiny, your week, your month, your year. There's your goals. You have no control over any of that. You have to become a master to your mind. And the only way that you could do that is truly, I guess, digging deep and exploring your weaknesses and your powers and learning to overcome that. And a lot of it is just self-reflection. You have to realize how powerful your mind is and start to take advantage of that. But I think that's true for everybody. You know, your own worst enemy is yourself. Yeah, you may have family members, you may have people at work that are going to tell you, you can't do this, you can't do that. And ultimately, it's
you.
It's not them. It's not them that's gonna convince you not to do it. It's gonna be yourself. You're gonna sit there and either go, oh, you know what, you're right, or fuck you, I'll show you. So you have to develop that mentality and that perspective to be your own cheerleader to a point.
I agree. You know, sometimes you just have to, you know, admit your wrongs and the things that you've been doing wrong, and you know, it's you versus you, and you know, but again, I always say it's player versus player in this game. But again, when I say player versus player, it's like, you know, does that one person have a better mentality than you? Does that one person have a better, you know, can he resist the market a little bit longer than you? Can he hold his coins a little bit longer than you? Can he sell at a greater profit than you? Is he able to, like, this is the thing. There's characteristics for each person that are more valuable than the other person doesn't have. It's just, you know, breaking past those barriers to become that highest version of yourself. And I think that's what it comes down to when people put years and years and years and years of investing into a market. It's like you're just so adjusted and you're learning new things about yourself that you never have. Like, I realize it's like, man, sometimes I'm a little bit more emotional when it comes to trading on that you never have. Like, I realize it's like, man, sometimes I'm a little bit more emotional when it comes to trading on maybe I should stop doing certain things so I could focus more on it in my life. These are all things that you got to put into perspective, and you start to learn that as your journey goes with investing. And I do say is that you truly tend to learn about yourself as time goes on, and especially going through this journey day in and day out and stressing about it. And if you make this your priority, I mean, that's when you really learn everything about yourself. Everything. That's when it is. You know?
I think that what we both share within our stories is it's almost like you have to show up after the failures. And it's very easy to fail and not to come back. It's very easy to take the losses and decide, I'll do something I'm good at. I'm only going to focus on the things that I'm good at. I don't want to do things that I suck at. And that's pretty natural for people. But when it comes to money, you have to fail. And you got to fail, and you got to fail, and you got to fail. People like to think that the road to success is just starting here and it's all the way up. It's quite the opposite. It's up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Ultimately, what's not going to gain you to your successful path is you deciding, I'm going to quit. I'm going to give up. You have to fail 100 times before you hit those lucky numbers, you know, and that's the whole idea of it. It's really just you against you as well. I think that's a big portion of it. But the failure is absolutely a part of the story. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, I totally agree. And that just comes through experience, you know, that's just coming through experience. And like I said, it takes time to truly figure out, you know, who you really are in this space until you start putting in the work, you know. That's when you'll see the key flaws and everything like that in life. And I truly do believe is that, you know, if you do go all in, and not all in with money wise, but all in, you know, doing your research and doing everything you can to get where you are, you'll be able to see the flaws upon yourself as time goes on and see the key things that you need to focus on.
When do you think that the average investor really starts to pick up on their own game, pick up on their own mentality, their own convictions? At what point do you think the average person realizes that they are independent?
What'd you say?
I said, with your average investor, at what point do these people start to realize that they are independent? They become the free thinker. They have their own research, their own critical thinking. They have their own independence. At what point within the average investor do they become independent? When does that person realize that they are?
A time frame or just in general? Like,
Oh, in terms of personal skills and growth.
it just depends on how much you really want it, you know? It's like, you know, if I'm going to put in day out, like, I mean, you're watching, like, from what I know is like, you want it just as bad as me. This guy blockchain, he's watching like 5 hours of crypto videos a day, like doing his research. Like, listen, and if you want to become dependent, you got to put in the work and you got to do whatever it takes. That's what I say. And I do think is that one of the two things is how much you really want it and having the community behind you to really guide you through the process. And then you can slowly become independent on your own to become, gain on your own journey. But I will say it definitely does take some time to grasp some new things because people don't just learn this within a day. You know, they got to understand all these different types of coins and charts and analysts and, catalysts and all these different types of things that are, you're not an expert in this field, right? Everything evolves over a period of time. You don't really, everything is changing, right? Technology is changing, AI is changing, crypto is changing, regulations are changing, but I do think it does take some time, maybe a little bit over a year to really become independent. But if you do have a mentor or a guide, to help you along the way, it definitely it goes a long way. And I do believe that if the next question that was coming about would have been, have I ever had a mentor? If you were going to ask me this question, I know we're on the mentor thing. The answer would be, I would say probably my parents. I would definitely say I didn't really have anybody else. And just, this is all we talk about, we talk about crypto. I talk about the same thing with my parents, we talk about the same thing. We talk about it. This is all we talk about, we all talk about money, we want to make money and uplift each other to the highest extent. And I give my parents the greatest amount of gratitude for really helping me get to where I am today. But I will tell you is that if it wasn't for them, I'd never be able to be here with everybody on live, with the community chat we have, giving you all the help I can. We would never be able to do all this if it wasn't for them. So they helped me along the way, and now I'm just continuing the journey upon my own.
When you have people in your life maybe laugh at your dream or whatever it is that you believe in, especially in this market, how do you respond to that?
When people laugh at me?
When you tell them about your convictions, your beliefs, your investments, they say, "Oh, you're crazy. What are you doing? Why would you do that?" How do you respond to them? What's the mentality?
That's fine. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, I think the biggest piece of advice is what you said is that, just stop caring what people think, just do you, is that you should feel insane, man. You should really feel insane to think that you're what we're doing right now. I mean, 3 years ago, if we told everybody we went on crypto, they'll tell you we were absolutely insane. If I told people 3 years later that we're doing crypto in today's day and age, they'll think like, wow, this kid's a genius. Like, you have to be insane. You have to be insane and let people laugh at you, Let the 99% of the people are going to tell you you're crazy. But, most of these people, they're doing the most insane things. They're doing exactly the things that we're doing. We're going behind the scenes. We're doing all the research. We're doing what they're not doing, and only time will tell. And these are the people that are wasting their time with their life, and they're not even changing, their flaws and anything like that. So that's what I say is I don't care what anybody thinks. I evolve as time goes. And listen, I will say is that if this all doesn't work out, we're going to be in the same level platform as what they are right now. We're just we're just going to go right back into the rat race. Just two guys that actually did try, but that's all that matters is that in this world, all you have to do is just try. And if you give it a shot, majority of the time is that you will fall, and then there'll be that one time where you'll skyrocket through the roof, and this is our time right here.
Obsession is a must. Look, it's one thing to be passionate about this industry. It's another thing to be obsessed. If you're just passionate about it and you're just going to watch one video a month, or I'm only going to look at the charts when things are green, maybe your passion, but there's people out here who are obsessed. When they're out on a run, they're listening to the market. They're watching people, they're learning. When they're on their commute to work, they're learning. When they're on their breaks, they're learning. When they're home, they're learning. The obsession, it overtakes just about everything in your life. Almost everything else becomes, I don't want to say not as important, but when you are obsessed, you have a drive and you have this ambition, and you feel as if there is a mission you have to obtain, and if you don't do it, the price of failure is going to be more expensive than the price of not even trying. So you have to. You have to. Obsession is a must in order for you to be successful.
I manifest it all. And it's like, if you don't manifest anything in life and you don't truly believe that it's going to happen, you're never going to win. And I do say is that if you continue to try, just know that you get. But I've never seen anyone. I've never ever seen anyone give it their all on something and fail.
Walk me through the manifestation.
Just believing it. That's just what it comes down to. Is that every time I look at the market and I look at the catalysts and I look at the news and the things, I know what's coming. And it's the global adoption, and it's believing. Even like I said, we're in the wild, wild west, and we're doing the gold digging. We're trying to find the diamonds in the dirt, and we're trying to find all these little bits and pieces for our community, and trying to find all these pieces of info. Someone asked for our Discord message. We'll send you the invite to our Discord. But going back is that we're doing all the research. We're going in and out. We're going as deep as we possibly can and trying to find the most amount of news. And the more and more I see it, the more and more I'm starting to believe it. And I'm believing because things are starting to come true. And I'm like, oh my God, this is really it's like Christmas. Like, we're getting there. Christmas is Christmas Day. And then all of a sudden you open the presents and then we're there. Catalyst, boom. Price is $100 XRP, $300 XRP, quants fucking at $3,000. I couldn't even tell you, but I'm saying is that the more and more I'm starting to see this, I'm more and more starting to believe it. And the more and more I start seeing good news, the more and more I'm starting to manifest that we are right on the right path, and then we are right here. And that's what I truly do believe in. That's why I manifested so much, because in the beginning I manifested, but now I see it. I see the vision every single day, because we are every single day we are one step closer. And I don't try to rush it, because I really do appreciate the journey, and I want to suffer as much as I can until we get to that very moment, and get that generational wealth, which everybody in this chat is trying to do as well. But again, we are almost there, and I truly do. And every single time I see a piece of news, and especially yesterday with the SEC lawsuit, 4 years, 8 months, I've manifested this moment, and here we are today. And it's just going to take a little bit more time. And then once we get to that breaking point, I'll be like, listen, we're already here. I manifested it all. I mean, just think about it. 4 years ago, I manifested, where we could possibly be with, ISO coming about. And just think about it. I don't own any Bitcoin, but the fact that we are over $100,000 on Bitcoin, and we're literally staying right within this break. XRP is almost back at its all-time high. It's crazy.
Do you believe that your manifestation as well as your spiritual life have some entanglements?
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Do you believe that your manifestation as well as your spiritual life has some entanglements?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Entanglements as what do you mean?
Entanglements.
Like you got to give a little description on that, because I don't know what that words exactly mean.
One and the same. Like, do you ever find that they have very similar crossroads, that your manifestations are coming from a spiritual side of your beliefs?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Walk me through your convictions within your markets from your spiritual beliefs.
Well, believe it or not, I've always been a Catholic guy, Christian guy, always going to church, but I stopped going for a while, and I do believe is that the moment I started going again and again, my manifestation and my belief started to really come to life, and a lot of things in my life started to come about, and I really started to see the bigger picture in a lot of things. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have, gone to church every single Sunday ever since. And you know what? I've been praying and praying and praying, and the more and more I pray, the more and more things go on. But there comes a time where God makes you suffer. There does make a time where you need to pay the price for certain things that you do, whether you sin or whatever you do in life. Maybe it's your time to experience pain, and I'm willing to experience it because I know it's all in God's hands. And I do know is that it's a ride for sure, but I do believe is that everything is meant to be for a reason. And every single time I pray, every single time I pray, something happens, and I just know that it's for that exact reason.
I find it very, very repetitive that a lot of people that I speak to do feel as if there is a spiritual connection to this market, that they have been nudged in this direction to look at this project or to do this, and that it's not through ways of the world, but that it's actually a spiritual connection, or maybe that it's even they have to fulfill destiny, right? It's just this internal calling to pay attention and to look over here. Me personally, I feel like I've been nudged in this particular direction, and I believe that God's timing and God's purpose is much greater than mine. But I find it very similar that people feel that is as if their spiritual life has led them into this market.
Well, the only person we can thank is Jesus Christ, but most importantly, Gary Gensler for everything. Gary Gensler really helped us with great gratitude. He made this market go completely down. And, if anybody took their time and really invested and really did the research during the bear market with Gary in office, if it wasn't for him, I think most of us wouldn't be in the position they are in today. That's for sure.
Oh, I definitely ain't giving Gary Gensler credit over Jesus Christ, but
no.
Thank you, Gary.
I said Jesus Christ first. And then I said Gary.
You said most importantly, Gary, you sucker.
No, I'm sorry. I take that back.
No, I know what you meant. I'm just giving you. There's a lot of players that played into that role, and I think that the timing for many people was perfect, right? Thank you, Gary Gensler. Thank you, Joe Biden. Thank you, Elizabeth Warren. Thank you. You just changed my entire family's generational timeline. Thank you.
Thank you. But
no, ultimately, there was a particular reason, and you were in a particular moment in your life where you decided, this is something serious. This is something I'm going to go all in on. This is something I need to look at, right? There was almost like a calling for you. And I believe that if you are in tune with your spiritual side and your spiritual nature, and if you are in tune with yourself, you can find where this calling came from. For some people, they believe in destiny, they believe in karma, they believe in God. Some people just believe that, it's just luck, right? I stumbled upon this and it was luck. Whatever that case is, there's a reason why each and every single one of you guys are where you are today, listening to us. There's a reason why you guys are invested in the assets that you're invested in.
I don't know what happened to blockchain. You still there? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I see.
You got disconnected for a sec. That's why.
Yeah, I think I feel as if, for me personally, it's a spiritual endeavor. For some reason, I feel like I've had a calling to become part of this market, to become obsessed. Maybe it's even just to do this and to come on here and talk to strangers and to educate you guys. But for some reason, I feel a deep spiritual connection to this entire pursuit. This entire pursuit, I feel as if I was pushed in this direction for some reason. I guess I'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
But all of it is through my prayers.
Yep. I 100% agree. 100% agree. I would love to see, I know we went back and forth, but I would love to see, maybe anyone. I don't want to answer any questions or anything but like that. But if anybody has any questions for us, I would love to hear. Otherwise, we're gonna, keep going. But we got 63,000 likes. Truly do appreciate it. I know we said it in the beginning, but I'm going to say it now. We do have a Discord that has over 200 members, and if you're looking to get interested in our chat, just please message one of us, and we will send you the link over to our Discord. All we talk about is about utility projects. We don't really talk about memes, so if that's your boat, it's really not meant for you. We do have a lot of research tabs, so if you're looking to do your research, if you're looking for a spot where you don't know where to go, this is your place. This is your place. You don't have to talk. You don't have to talk. You can just read and do your research as you please. That's all it is. Someone said, what are your hobbies? You can go first, blockchain.
I love poker. I'm a big poker player. Of course, that ties in with investing. Deep researcher. I'm a devoted Catholic. Spirituality is very important for me, as well as family. Fishing, shooting guns, anything outside. I love being outside.
Yeah. Yep. MMA, mixed martial arts.
Martial arts. What about you?
Yeah, I would really give the same thing. Big outdoors guy, but, everything that blockchain mentioned, I truly do like. We do this pretty much the same exact things. This is why we're friends. Most importantly, when it's time to really get down to business, we can get down to business. And yeah. Great question.
Are we going to be neighbors when we have the homesteads?
We're going to just buy the whole block, bro. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to buy the whole block.
No, there was this time I went into, it must have been Zillow or something, and I found this property, 300 something acres, and there was property for sale all around it. And I sent it in the group chat. I said, guys, it's time. We're going to be neighbors. It must have been like over 1,500 acres of land between five properties or something like that, 7 properties.
It was more.
And I said, guys, we have to own this. We have to be a part of this. Imagine that. My neighbor's over there, but he's 300 acres away.
Yeah, for real. Oh yeah, go knock on the door. There's only 2 people within a 1,500 mile radius.
I know you say that with your new profound wealth, you would like to do something with charity and giving back. Have you given much of a deeper thought with that?
Giving back. Giving back to the church. That'll be insane. I would really love to do that, especially in my community. Really love to donate it. It's just not really all about myself. I really don't care. My purpose here is to really give back and inspire people. That's why I do this, is to have people in my Discord that have over 200. Like I said, I don't care about the money. I just care about educating people and giving them the best amount of knowledge possible. And yeah, I do love giving back. So that would be great to partner up with blockchain one day, and we can do something.
I've always wanted to start a foundation for something.
Yeah.
I have some ideas, but no, particularly the church does a lot of outgiving. Like, they have really fantastic programs. They either help the homelessness, or they help struggling families, or even out of country, they do a lot of community work. And I believe that you can actually look in there and take a look at what programs your money would be going to, and you can support one or the other. What's really nice about that is they already have the infrastructure, the workers, everything already set up.
Yeah.
And it's all audited, it's all transparent, which is pretty important. But no, I've always wanted to do something. I wanted to give back in some aspect. And
well, I mentioned that many years ago. I said I said, if we do this and we win, I said we can't keep it all for ourselves. I said, we got to give it back. We got to give it back to the church or anything like that in general. That's most importantly. Create a crypto game for kids. I don't care about games. I want them to make money. Okay? No games, money.
What are you gonna have? You flipping quarters?
My kids? No.
No, kids. Yeah, you're gonna have them fucking. This is
I'm just gonna call David Schwartz and be like, yo, I need you to teach my son about the XRP ledger. Can you do me a favor?
No fucking Legos.
Yeah, no
Legos. Get up. Get up.
Learn
how to send your crypto to a wallet.
Yeah.
Stupid.
We're learning about the XRP ledger. There's no crypto game gateway for educating kids.
Would you ever take it? You want to do Q&As? Is that what you want to do?
No. I mean, go ahead. I mean, at this point, I think we answered a lot of the questions. I would love to see, now that we got, I think a lot of things, just pretty much everything out there. Maybe we can answer some questions. It's honestly up to you. You're the host. Whatever you want.
Let's go into it then. Let's pay attention to the people commenting. Let's get a little bit more engaged.
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see. I would love to see. Now we got all the attention on the chat. Let's see what people want to say.
63,000 likes. Thank you guys so much. That's fucking fantastic. I swear to God, I gotta be shadow banned or something because my videos have been down, my lives have been down, the engagement has been down. There's definitely a shadow ban because I had a warning on one of my lives maybe like a week ago.
You know why? Because you're the bully, bro. That's why. Because you're the bully. You're bullying people left and right, spitting facts, letting them know who really the boss is around here. Who's the bully around town? You know?
Okay. What do you guys think about this?
It's gonna be something. Bully.
Do you understand how it feels to get bullied? Do you understand? There's people out here in this world really getting bullied, and they killing themselves because of this type of stuff. You need to be ashamed. All y'all need to go home and think about this. Matter of fact, I want y'all to open my evil papers, 10 pages on bullying, because I'm not gonna stand for that. Are you okay? I want y'all to apologize right now. Apologize right now, or get out my classroom. Apologize right now. Get the fuck out of my classroom. Goodbye.
You shouldn't have worn that hat. You shouldn't have worn that hat. Get the fuck out of my classroom. Do you know what it feels like to be bullied?
Bully's gonna get a shutdown, guys.
You know what it feels like to get bullied? You shouldn't have worn that hat. Get the fuck out of my classroom.
Out of here. Are you both from the East Coast? You sound like my hometown accents. You tell me. Are we from the East Coast? I don't know. Do we have any pets? No, thanks.
Setting that up for like the intro, do you know what it feels like to be bullied? You shouldn't have bought that meme coin. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, it would be great. It would be fucking great. Yeah, we'll do something funny. No, when I get it set up, we're gonna have to do a little bit more YouTube videos. We're gonna have to go to YouTube because I think it's important to expand outside of different platforms, and ultimately TikTok is kind of irrational, a little bit emotional. Guys, I do have other platforms. I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram. The Discord is really where I'm mostly active, but it's important because there are a lot of creators out here that go through account to account to account because TikTok removes them. So if you guys do like the content and the research that I do provide, please, links are in my bio. You have access to just about everything that you can find me on. But there's going to come a time where, and it's going to happen, I can't see it not happening where TikTok takes me out. You got me. They got me. It's going to happen, Not changing my name at that point. Like, what are you going to do? You just lose all your followers? Okay, whatever it is, you start over. I don't really care about the followers. I don't really, you know what I'm saying? The numbers are so unimportant to me. But no, if you guys do want to stay in touch and keep on top of my research and the community, check out the links in the bio as well as Crypto Cuzzie. He has everything in the links in his bio as well.
Yep. I mostly what's it called? We mostly focus, right on the Discord. That's where we stay. That's where we stay at the most. But T asked, when the government's going to shut down or freeze our cold storage wallets. I don't think so. That they can't control us that much.
Exchanges, yes, but not the wallets.
Yeah.
Light Love. So she, I'm assuming it's a she, but she was active when I went on to Cosmic Crypto and Bullish's Babes Live, and she was flirting with me. She said, "You got a wife, you got a girlfriend." She was sending me some pineapple memes. She was flirting with me. Careful. Of course it's a she. She said, "You got a wife? You got a girlfriend?" I don't know if she knows me or something, but maybe she found a crush, a little crush.
All right, but blockchain bikini. Okay.
Yeah, they in the other live they were saying someone's gonna have to wear a bikini. Everyone was like, "Put blockchain in the bikini. Put blockchain in the bikini." Come on.
Yeah, but
You ain't
I
gonna
think
emasculate me.
I honestly think yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. But do you have any last minute questions for me?
I think this is great. I think that it gave people the insight to knowing our relationship a little bit better and our background and our come up. You got any closing thoughts?
No, I do think is that, like I say, to tell everybody is that if you want to get on a Discord, shoot us a message. But most importantly, is continue to grind. We got very, very, very little time before we change our whole entire lives, and I want each and every single person in this live to reach the level of success as we all will, and just keep grinding. That's all I gotta say.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you.
Peace out, everybody.